Hello. Seems to be a lot of new faces around here recently. Thought it's a good time for me to reintroduce myself. My name is Dan. I run Crafted Camper Co. Now, Crafted Camper Co is a bespoke Yorkshire-based campervan conversion company. In vans like this one, preferably a Sprinter, and slowly but surely converting these into a holiday adventure luxury breakaway retreat, a home from home with a few extra tech specs inside. So whatever shape, size or pronoun you associate yourself with, come and join me with updates this week. We've got a massive week ahead of us. We're going to be building the electrics, adding some of the final fascia on, and the van's really going to start to transform into what it's going to look like when it's finally done. It's an exciting video ahead. I'm going to be connecting up and doing the electrical system. Since the redesign, I've unplugged everything, changed all of its location, and now finally getting back to the point where everything can be plugged back in. So I've made a board with holes in it where the fuses and the wires and everything can all be nicely laid into. Essentially, from a customer's point of view, you don't need to see all of the spiderweb wiring. You do need access to the fuse board and certain switches and so on, which I'll explain to you now. Here's everything mocked out. So we have the main lithium-ion battery. We've got the split charger coming from the battery to the DC to DC charger. This then feeds directly into the battery itself. Then we've got the inverter charger, which is connected to the outside 240 volt shore power. That then connects up to the battery and also to the power system to use as an inverter with a 240 volt system through this distribution panel. And then as well, additional to that as well, we've got the 12 volt, which all of the wiring for the 12 volt fuses are going to be labelled. I have a label maker, and they're all going to be nicely done up with the blue wires there, just to try and keep everything as colour coded and neat and tidy as possible. Just to note as well, I've paid special attention. I quite like that these are all blue, matching all of the Victron equipment. It's the same colour blue. I've tried just to keep it nice and neat and tidy, so then the customer can still get access to all of the fuses, and just to double check and maybe use a multimeter to see if they're all working. And they're all individually labelled as well with what appliance is on them. We do have a future plan on an improvement on this naming system, but that's to be decided on yet, so that should come out in a further update. Inverter's all hooked up and currently charging, as I've got the shore power outside connected up. Now that'll be providing out of the 240 volt line into the switchway. This is nicely wired up now, and if I turn the main on, when I flick the switch, the battery charger should turn on. And then came the window refitters. They took the window off, cleaned up all of the gunk. There was a couple of spots where the water was seeping through. That, once rectified and put back onto the van, now makes it completely watertight, which is definitely a massive step towards getting this van finished. So I need to put the grey water tank in the van, of course, somewhere for the water to go. However, a problem that I've caused myself is that the grey water tank directly above are the electrics which I've put in. Now this is a thing which I've found on the van quite a lot, because everything is so close knit and there's no room for, well, really anything. it means that ultimately if I was to put off doing the electrics because I need to put in the grey water tank, put off the grey water tank because I need to wait for the new fittings to arrive for it, put off doing the new fittings just because I don't quite know how to do it, then nothing would get done. It's a thing which I'm finding is a recurring issue with this. It's not an issue, just means that sometimes I have to just crack on, just get it done, otherwise nothing will get done. And now I might have to go back a couple of steps with the electrics, just lift them up and out of the way, so then when I'm drilling through, I'm not drilling into a £700 battery. This is how the strapping system is going to work. So there's this metal strap which is covered in plastic to save rubbing on the tank. This is going to be the back to front of the tank. So you can see that there's bolts which are going to go up the floor of the van. It's going to be here. This is going to be fashioned to support the weight of the tank. These can support up to 200 litres. I've only got 75, so that'll be fine. And then there's these hand tight bolts here, so if you do need to take the tank off, they're going to be on the outer edge of the van, 2 of them front and back, to easily come undone. I am not a plumber. I'm getting my head around all of the fittings, fixtures, and everything's been an absolute nightmare. First thing that I'm going to do with the grey water tank, before mounting it of course, is just to prep it. So I've got a water level gauge to then send a signal into the van to the tank gauge.
I have a lot of respect there for plumbers because it's the most boring job in the world. All the different fittings and connectors are absolutely mind-boggling, and I still didn't have enough this week, so I'll be getting back onto it next week once I've got the rest in the post.
Bathroom's coming along well. The shower basin has arrived, so I'm just slowly building up. The base has been brought up by a few, and then there's some shims in there just to get it perfectly right. Now I'm just doing the outer structure up to the roof. You can see on this one, I'm going to bend the wood to the shape of the van. I'm just about to cut another one now to do on this side up. This one's a bit more difficult than the rest of the van because ultimately it's all going to need to be waterproofed once it's done. So there's no guesswork, it's got to be absolutely exact.
With the shower block in place, we then started to make a template for the wood slat roof. Now this roof is a fantastic panel. It saved me a lot of time and I got a good deal for it. It's exactly the shade and thickness of panel that I'm wanting. So here, using the cardboard cutout, we're cutting around the shower block and around the roof fan. Now one big problem which I've encountered with this is I wanted to drill some black screws in between the slats where the black foam is on the back. However, the foam behind the wooden slats is not structural at all, and so it wouldn't be good enough to hold the wood slat panels up onto the roof. So I've had to be creative, think of an idea like this here, where I drill some sunken holes into the wood. Then I can fix up with screws, and next week I can then create some dowels to put inside of those, just trim them down, hide the screws, and hopefully get a really continuous finish. So make sure you tune in next week just to see if that does actually work, because it's a big risk that I'm taking drilling into these panels. Hopefully they look all right. Everything on this build tends to be taking a lot longer than what I want, but we're starting to come along there, you know, along with the kind of financial pressures which don't normally make it to social media and YouTube. It's starting to add a little bit of stress,
However, taking massive positive action and finishing the different electronics, adding the shower in, sticking the roof on. That's it's really helping in just making sure that we keep positive, keep building, and hopefully it's an interesting journey for everyone to follow. With every video, hopefully getting better and better, including the van itself, because obviously a big part of this is when the van gets towards the end stages and you actually see what it is that I'm building and the quality which I'm building to. That hopefully then will keep you coming back, keep you subscribed, keep you following on Instagram and TikTok, and following the build as it progresses. There's a big video next week. There's a lot of progression which is due. Hopefully once I get my head around all this